it doesn't seem possible to me that that both sides are going to successfully play the coronavirus card. I think everybody knows this is about money, right?
I mean, it's funny because it's like when I heard the news was coming out and everybody was excited about it, because the one thing the reporters did not so great was they kind of framed it as a plan to bring baseball back is being submitted.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that's sort of like a hypothetical. Like all these things would need to happen. And I think they kind of leave that out when they just label it plan to bring baseball back.
That's like asking a girl out on a date and being like, plans for marriage in the works. It's like, we got a long fucking way to go, but this would be the very first step.
So when I started to dig into like the finances of baseball, all these articles were written in like, some were written in March, some were written in April, because as soon as they started kicking around no fans in the stands, people started writing articles that were like, this does not make economic sense. Like it doesn't work on the economic level. If somebody else wants to figure it out on another level, that's fine. But economically, and the one I saw, I think it was in the San Diego Tribune, just said, it summed it up really like the TV revenue for a full season. So all this would have to be prorated anyway, but the TV revenue for a full season is $3 billion. And the player's salary is $4.5 billion. So if that's
it's over.
Like, what do you want? Now, I'm not saying absolutely over, but I'm like, this is a huge hurdle. So when everybody says they just need to get back because don't be greedy and everybody, when they need to play, the American people need it. It's like, there are real financial questions that need to be answered. And everybody likes to make the owners the bad guys. But how can you not, like, there's only one solution. The players take a pay cut. Like, it's not even like the owners can take less revenue. The owners have already lost the main source of revenue, which is attendance. So, like, those costs are gone already.
I'm stunned that the bulk of revenue is tickets.
That seems a little weird.
I thought that SNY alone was worth like $1 billion, and that's just the Mets.
Well, they did say that the teams with their own networks could pull this off. They could play. Like, I mean, they can't play because they'd have no one to play. But when you have your own network, it is very valuable. For MLB in general, because I think
that's probably Yankees with Yes, Boston with Nesson, Mets with SNY,
Cubs probably have
Dodgers.
Something?
The Dodgers and Angels, I think, have something, and then that's probably it, right?
I didn't see all the, and I don't know how that all breaks down exactly. So there may be more TV money in there. And, a few people brought up I saw another thing that said media rights make up 50% of the revenue. So I guess like merch and attendance. So it's not necessarily attendance is the bulk of it. So that means that there are, there's TV, and then there might be some more money for streaming. And, they might get creative. They might, figure out other ways to make more money. But don't forget that then the $3 billion in money versus the $4.5 billion is only player salary. It's not travel. It's not accommodations. It's not operations of the stadium. Decreased costs because there won't be as many people. But you've got to open the stadium, you got to have, there's just you got to turn the power on. Like, there's a few operating engineers that just have to be in the building. So now, but those costs may be negligible, but travel, accommodations, there's other things that the owner normally takes care of that you now have to figure out. This makes me think that the whole playing in Arizona seems a lot more reasonable.
Yeah.
But then it all comes back to, don't you think some of these players, and probably enough of the players, are just all this for half a season that nobody knows if it's really even going to be looked at like it counts.
Right.
And, as much as I know nobody wants to fear monger, but it's just if you're a player who's going to, who could say, I think we'll be ready by 2021 and I make $20 million then.
Right.
I'm good. I know I'm losing $20 million now, but I have a $100 million contract. Why don't I just wait and be safe?
Now, and also, as much as people are clamoring, it's in the history books, we said, nobody cared about, nobody talks about 1994, 95, oh my God. It's just it was a blip on the radar. If this was year 3 of coronavirus taking over the world, I could see people being it's literally time to return to life and risk it. It's been a couple months. Right. And so am I going to risk, if I'm a lawyer, if I'm Tony Clark, if I'm in the Players Association, if I'm the commissioner, am I going to risk decades of leverage for this one fake season?
Yeah. I mean,
but then if I'm a player and I'm thinking about my own personal brand, I think the push-pull goes, do I want to be viewed as like a scab?
Mm-hmm.
But I could also be a motherfucking hero.
Mm-hmm.
If Mike Trout was like, take my $45 million salary, I'm playing for free this year, hero. Boom.
Yeah. But see, this is where we talk about the players union being the strongest union. I think they are also internally the strongest union. I think that they keep their players in line and they say, don't, like Tom Brady was playing for a discount for years. Nobody plays for a discount in baseball.
Yeah, I know. But if this was just a regular work stoppage negotiation, I think it would be like, wait, all right. I'm not going to be the asshole. Like, this is how it goes. These guys negotiate, whatever. This is a pivotal moment in human history where if you are a legacy guy, if you are a Hall of Fame guy, if you want your name etched in stone, because guess what? It's probably not going to happen, but you make the offer.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Mike Trout's donating all $400 million. No, it's not. But I said so, and I'm the man. I'm the hero. Right.
Yeah. So well, I mean, you'll get your Dan Ravel tweets, and you'll be like, "What did you do for your brand? Like, did you recoup $40 million?
What's your Q rating?
Probably. Right. You're an American hero now.
Can you imagine the fucking Nike commercial in black and white with the light piano and he's like, ever since I was a kid, I just wanted to play. And like, the fucking corny theatrics, you'll make that money back a billion times over.
Some things are more important than money.
Oh, come on. A new slogan, a new just do it. Forget about it, man. And then you could look at Tony Clark, you could look at Rob Manfred and go, figure it out, boys. See you later. I'm going to SoCal,
Yep, I
would be so tempted because I almost think I don't know. I've never been a part of a union. I don't know the inner workings of like the mob mentality of being the guy. Like we saw how Jordan like walked out on the Birmingham Barons being like, I'm a pro athlete. I'm not fucking around with anybody's unions, Right. So maybe if even Michael Jordan felt pressure with that, then who knows? But I almost think the world has always kind of been moving towards a creator or a player's world, and you might be the hero that like, fucking set that in motion, being like, and then in 2021, Mike Trout and Bryce Harper like took back the power and things were never the same.
Right, because these players now just playing on Twitch, playing each other on video games, like that's great for their brand. And they are like, we have to take this into our own hands because MLB won't do it. We know that MLB is like particularly awful with like new media and stuff like that. So they're moving things this way. This is like much bigger and much more impactful. But I could absolutely see somebody being like, the only reason I think somebody wouldn't do that is if the union like was just like, you are undercutting us here and you're gonna fuck over all your guys. But sometimes people are just like, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm a unique person and I think we should be playing. I think we should play for a discount. Or maybe like if a Bryce Harper or a Trout said like, take my whole salary and ration it out so that like the guy making $500,000 isn't now making $100,000 because they said the season won't get started till halfway. Minimum, you miss half of it, so you lose 50% just for that,
right?
And then they did get like some kind of like minimum pay through the end of May, but you basically lose half, and then you need to basically take another 50% pay cut to make the owners just break even on the salary front. So if you are making just $1 million, it's still $1 million, but if it's all of a sudden,
I hate that though. It's like we just had Logan Paul on KFC Radio. Logan Paul's monthly expenses are $250,000. Now, that's a particularly silly case because the dude is probably wasteful in a lot of ways, and he's being so he's spending on purpose to create this image. But it's also like you got to spend money to make money, and when you have expenses, when you've grown accustomed to a lifestyle, I think there's a tipping point with that where it's like, okay, you're all millionaires 10 times over, so fuck off. But the people who can just be like, come on, like you're all rich. It's like, dude, that's not gonna work.
If you're a smart and like, forward-thinking businessman of a player, like some of these players just sit on their money.
Yeah.
But others start companies.
Right.
Others
right.
Like,
I got expenses that aren't like, I don't have a entourage. I don't have 10 houses, but I started a fucking movie studio. I started like LeBron James is a whole fucking enterprise, you know?
And the same thing with the owners though, because they're like, oh, you have $9 billion. You think that that's like a Scrooge McDuck, just like gold coins in a room? Like, no, they don't. It's definitely not all liquid. The smartest people know not to just let your money sit around.
Right.
So when they're just like, I mean, look at the Wilpons. People would think of the Wilpons as the 1% of 1% of 1%, and they can't even operate because they're so bad at their job.
Right.
So
so like that
money is not just there to be taken.
That's the point. Is like it's when you say like the Wilpons do not have money, they don't.
Right.
And you would consider them the greedy billionaire owners, and it's like, well, those motherfuckers are dumb jamokes and they're broke.
Could you imagine? Like what we all just laid out, like, the $1.5 billion deficit. The Wilpons are going to be like, we were basically in a deficit right now.
Already, when times were good.
The Wilpons had to take loans to make payroll before there was any problems.
And that was in a New York City franchise. So what do you think's going on in fucking Seattle and Arizona and shit like that? So,
but it's all probably better there. They're all in better shape.
Somehow, some way.
They're probably struggling too.
The last thing I think though that's interesting is, it would be a moment like I've kind of beat the drum for the other side of this, but at some point you have to just own up to it. Like, and facts are facts, that baseball's popularity is an issue. And if both sides could just be like, for the greater good, if we were like the only sport back, like we're all going to take a hit this year, try to make it equitable. And we just hope to God that we grab some of those football fans and we grab some of those American patriots who say that we did it for America. And then maybe next year and the year after that and 10 years from now, it's all good. I think they should agree. They all somehow split the losses, let everybody do steroids, and bring baseball back again the way they did it in the 90s, because that's how it fucking worked last time, boys.
I love that idea. But also, like, there are two more components here. One, the TV deal. Couldn't that just go up? Couldn't you just go to the,
like I just said, like, you're gonna get ratings people are watching Korean baseball right now.
Right. So I mean, now the problem is everything's in recession, but like these TV networks are starving for content.
Well, fuck the TV. Let's do MLB TV. It's a $50 a month package right now.
So that was the other option, the people themselves. But again, like, to make up a $1.5 billion difference. Now, the first step is the players have to take some kind of cut. If the players stand pat, I don't think any of this happens. So they take a big cut to narrow that gap, and then fucking put baseball behind a paywall. Dude. It's like go on patreon.com and subscribe to the tiers you want. And the people can supplement it. Now, again, the problem is, we're lucky enough to still have our jobs. Lots of people aren't. If we're talking about approaching 30% unemployment, only 70% of people.
Yeah, no, I know, but
there,
then there's the other side of things. There are people who are degenerate gamblers and people who want to watch and will spend their $50 on baseball instead of.
If they can contribute to a couple tens, hundreds of millions of dollars, if spread out across the people that really want baseball, then baseball is the only sport happening.
Casey Smith told me that Texas A&M they built a new facility. They had 12 donors all donate $25 million each. They built a $400 million facility. They didn't touch tuition, and the government didn't pay a dime. They just got people being like, here you go.
Yeah.
So I like, is there not a way?
I just got done saying that billionaires aren't liquid. But here is the opportunity for your boy, Stevie Cohen, to literally be the savior. He comes in, drops $1.5 billion, said you need the Mets at a deal. $2 billion for that, $1.5 billion. I cover the baseball costs, and I bring baseball back myself. Players are playing. The ratings are probably through the roof. The TV deal goes up. I mean, you're Rockefeller. A guy can dream.
You're Rockefeller then. You're an American hero. You are a king. It's a monarchy. You're above the commissioner. You own the sport, and you're forever etched in history.
And I mean, he had $3 billion to drop.
Right.
He was gonna buy the Mets for $3 billion. Okay. The Jeff Wilpon, you fucked that up. Steve Manfred, you have to admit that now. You have to give him the Mets for a discount. He gets that. He gets it for 1.5 now, and he takes that other 1.5 that he was going to pay for the Mets that he clearly just has.
Yep.
And maybe it's, through like, it's not necessarily cash, but it's like the transaction is going to happen. That makes up the gap from the owners, and he does it himself. He probably gets like some kind of equity in every team everywhere, but he's the man who saved baseball. Stevie, do it.
Like, what's the point of making $13 billion if not to drop your dick on the table in the most crucial moment in American history, right? Like, what's the fucking point, man? You can't take that with you. Who gives a shit about your hedge fund? Own baseball. But I don't know. That's probably the very easy version of it that we don't know. There's no easy answer.
Okay.
There